Hey y'all, it's Linda. Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am super excited because this is just going to kind of be a fun video for me. I asked you all over on my Instagram to tell me your unpopular makeup opinions, and I am going to be reacting to them. Now, I have not read barely any of them. Like, I glanced maybe the first 20 minutes, but the number of answers that came in were overwhelming. You guys have a lot of opinions, and that's why I love you. But if this is your first time here, hi, my name is Linda. I'm a cruelty-free beauty YouTuber. I always want to help you decide whether or not makeup, skincare, hair care, whether or not it's worth your money, whether it's drugstore priced, luxury, high-end. I just want you spending your money wisely. But I'm also doing my very first low buy year this year in 2022. Can't believe it's almost over, but I'm being really careful about bringing new products into my collection, making sure they're things that either really spark joy or fill a void in my collection. So if you're interested in that, as you're watching, I would love if you hit the subscribe button and become a part of the Rockstar fam. And also, if you are a content creator, I encourage you, go on your Instagram, your TikTok, whatever, and ask people for their unpopular makeup opinions. Because again, I was so surprised how many answers I got. And I did already notice a few trends, so I'm really curious. Not gonna lie, I also kind of based this look off of an unpopular makeup opinion in general that I think the world has, which is don't match what you're wearing to your look. And I know that these aren't the same shade of blue, but they're pretty damn close. And honestly, I feel kind of cute. I'm not gonna lie. Let's go ahead and find one that definitely was a big theme. And let's get that buddy out of the way. We have, I highly dislike highlighter. We have, highlighter is overrated. We have, highlighter is nonsense and I'm too old for it, now get off my lawn. And those were just a few of the people that don't like highlighter. It's so interesting to me because highlighter was a thing that when it came out in the makeup world, I want to say, I'm going to blame Jaclyn Hill over here. And I'm blaming, I so went into that as well. And it just was such a big thing. And everyone had these blinding from space highlighters and then started coming out with highlighters that were blue and green and purple. And I really loved that trend. I really loved the whole trend. I was like, this is such a cool way to express yourself, especially if you were wearing a blue look and then you would have a blue highlighter, or a blue look and you'd have a purple highlighter. It was just so rad, and I thought it was just a really cool time. I don't know, and I understand why a lot of people didn't like it. I definitely loved the highlighter trend, and to be honest, I still love a glow on my face, but I do not use my highlighters as much as I used to. I use some that are a little more subdued, and when they're not, I'll pat them in with my finger or I'll pat them out. Whereas before, I used to just take a brush and go to town. I didn't give a flying fuck if it looked like there was a stripe of oil on my face, okay? I just wanted it to be glowing from the gods, and I still love a glowy base. I love a glowy finish. I can't see myself personally ever being somebody who loves an all matte face. That's just not my vibe. But I think that I am I'm not starting to veer away from highlighters. I still love a highlighter, but I don't wear them as often as I used to. So, that's just so interesting to me, though, that was the #1 unpopular makeup opinion, which shows that actually that's a pretty popular makeup opinion, but I had no idea. I do also think it's interesting. We had a lot of people whose unpopular makeup opinions centered around very specific brands. So we had Rare Beauty and Sigma are both overhyped. I have zero interest in either brand. So let's start with that one. I will be the first one to admit I have not tried a single Rare Beauty product yet. And I don't know why, because every time I go into Sephora, I look at them and I want something to grab me and it never quite does. The bronzer sticks, I've heard great things about them, but when I test them out on my skin, there's just no shade that I think is right for me. So tell me your favorite Rare Beauty products. I know we're kind of going up against an unpopular opinion here, but I am curious to know what your favorite Rare Beauty products are, because I will admit that maybe that's a brand that might not be for me either, because every time I look at them, I'm just kind of like, nah, it just feels kind of boring to me. And I don't know what it is because so many people love them. But now Sigma, let's see. Sigma, I have tried their brushes and I think they're lovely. I think they're so good. As for makeup, I have tried highlighter and I've tried blush. And I enjoy them both, but neither one are my favorite in my collection. Okay, I do like them. I just feel like there's got to be something more out there. I know some people have talked about Sigma eyeshadows. I've never tried them. So they're such big brands and I have yet to try them. Another brand specific unpopular opinion is Natasha Denona eyeshadows aren't that good. Oh, we about to fight. We're going to hold my earrings. No, but seriously, I've heard people say this. I've heard so many people say this. This is where I guess we'll have to agree to disagree, okay? Because I will be honest that I think Natasha Denona shadows are still some of the best quality shadows in my collection, if not the best quality shadows in my collection. I have never had a single issue with a Natasha Denona shadow. Can I say that? Yeah, I can say that confidently. I will touch it in the pan. It looks on my eyes like it does in the pan. It blends beautifully. They blend with every other shade. And yes, I know that they are more expensive. They really, really are. But that is one brand that I am completely fine personally investing in. But I am so curious to know who else out there really does not like, because they said Natasha Denona shadows, they didn't say they're not worth the money. They said they're not good. So I'm really curious who else feels that way. Really curious. Everyone has different opinions, but I would say that might be an unpopular makeup opinion. There were also 3 people that said in one way or another that Pat McGrath shadows are either overrated or they don't blend well or they end up with a muddy mess, things like that. I have never tried Pat McGrath cosmetics because they are not certified as cruelty free, but I am curious, like, do you all feel that way? Because I feel like Pat McGrath is one of those brands that I always hear about as like the godsend of the makeup world, and it's very interesting to me that at least a handful of you do not like it. This was one of my favorite ones because I think you guys might be surprised at my reaction to this. They said, I am so over Disney collabs. I'm not 6 years old. Sorry, not sorry. If you all know me, you know how I feel about Disney World, okay? I love Disney World. It is my freaking happy place. I love Disney movies. A lot of times if I don't feel well or if I'm just like anxious, I'll watch a Disney movie because it like calms me, it centers me, things like that. But I 100% agree with this unpopular opinion. When I see a palette that has Bambi on it, or when I see a palette that has like Snow White or something like that, it just feels juvenile to me. And I don't know why it feels juvenile, like because it's so stupid. It's just the shadows inside. Why do I care about that packaging and that specific collab? I don't know what it is, but it does feel somewhat juvenile to me. And I'm wondering, do I own a single Disney palette? And I don't. And I love Disney, but I also don't surround myself with a whole lot of Disney merch. So maybe that has to do with it. I do own mouse ears. 2 pairs of mouse ears, in fact, that I do wear to Disney World when I go. I am that Disney nerd. I am that Disney adult. But for some reason, I do agree, like the collabs, there's been so many of them for every single solitary Disney movie that has ever freaking existed, and they feel so juvenile to me, and I can't explain why. This next one is so specific, but I guess it's also an unpopular makeup opinion I didn't realize I had as well. Curious to know what you think. Someone said, it's a weird opinion, but I can't handle when they cover their fingers entirely for a swatch. There is something about this that skeeves me out too. I'm going to put some pictures up here right now of what I think they're talking about. And I am not saying anything bad about these brands, about the shadows, anything like that. But when someone covers from here to here in a swatch, something about that feels gross. And I can't put my finger on why, because you're taking it, you're drawing it across your arm. Why is the arm not gross to me, but a finger is? Why? It's something that makes me highly uncomfortable, and I can't put my finger on why. I hate it too. And why does it gross me out? Why? So kind of along that same line, but not really, but kind of, they said, I hate when people use their fingers to put on eyeshadow. Guilty. I definitely do that, and I do that for a lot of shimmers, to be honest, because I feel like that way it can stick a little bit to the oils in my fingers and I can pat it on. But I know a lot of people hate that. I actually would say that that's probably a popular opinion rather than an unpopular one. How do you guys feel about when people put on eyeshadows with their fingers? Like, I have to admit, I get a little weirded out when people do like a crease color with their fingers. I don't know why that's different, but I definitely do shimmers with my finger. Like almost every time I do it. Like, I know a lot of people prefer to wet their brushes or things like that. I love pressing it on. What do you all do? This is an interesting one too. Somebody said people only cancel brands when it's convenient for them. I'm looking at you, ColourPop and ABH. I do agree in some ways that canceling brands might be seen as a bit of a privilege, right? Because you have the money to do with what you want. And like for me personally, I don't necessarily believe I've canceled brands, but there are brands that I've personally stopped using. And that's because I do personally have enough disposable income where I can choose what brands I want, right? And I do think that that is a privilege that I personally have, and I recognize that privilege. But I do think that if somebody is maybe they don't have as much money, they're not able to be as picky with brands, right? Like ABH is an expensive brand, but ColourPop, for example, they have so many items that are so inexpensive, and that might be all that people can afford. So maybe if they don't agree with the politics of that brand, they might still buy it because that's what's accessible to them personally. So I do think that people do cancel brands when it's convenient for them. Absolutely. I also am a little weird personally with the phrase canceling brands because like I said, when I choose to not support a brand anymore, you know what I do? I just don't talk about it anymore. I don't talk about it and I don't use it on my channel anymore. You might hear me say here and there, that's a brand I used to use. I do not anymore. And I go past it because I figure if people really want to know, they can Google it, they can find out for themselves, and I want them to make their own decisions. I want them to absolutely make their own decisions because like, you know, what I feel a brand has done, if I feel that they've done something terrible and I choose to stop using them, someone else might not feel that's as terrible, and that's their choice. That's their choice. I might not agree with that choice at all, but that's their choice. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm not somebody who usually comes out and screams loudly like, never buy from this brand, they're terrible, except for Shein. Don't buy from Shein, please. Stop. That includes SheGlam. Stop. This is one that I love, and I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion or not, but it needs to be said. You can hate someone's makeup online and keep scrolling. You don't have to tell them. Yes! I don't understand this concept. I don't understand the concept of going,
that person's eyeshadow is gross, and I need to let them know.
If somebody sends you a picture personally and they say, hey, what do you think of this color combination? Do you think it could be better? And they are asking you for your opinion on improvement, please give that person your genuine feedback. Like, don't be mean about it, but you can give them your genuine feedback. But if somebody feels good about themselves, and 9 times out of 10, if someone posts a selfie, they are feeling themselves, okay? And I applaud that because how many days do we all feel like shit about ourselves? If someone posts a selfie, I'm like, you know what? Go you. You like how you look today? That is fantastic. If I don't like the look, I have never once felt the need to stop what I'm doing in my day and say, hey, I know you didn't ask for my opinion, but I'm going to give it away. And that looks like shit. So just move on. Just move on, my friend. There were some opinions on here about eyelash extensions and fake lashes. One person said, I do not get this trend of eyelash extensions that look like caterpillars. Why? Somebody else said, lash extensions look silly without a full face of makeup. Somebody else said lashes don't always make a look better. So I think that most of them seem to center around, there seems to be a trend right now of people getting professional eyelash extensions and not wearing any makeup with them. And I personally, I don't love it either. I just don't love it either. And again, I would never criticize someone for doing that because if they are feeling great, I am not going to yuck their yum, okay? If they are feeling great, cool. It's not hurting anyone. But it just seems awkward to me to have big, huge fake lashes with no other makeup. And I don't know why that is. It shouldn't bother me, but it is one of those things where like, I'm just kind of like, I don't get it, but I'm not going to lie. I kind of chalk that up to being somebody who is 42 years old because I feel like for the most part, the people I see wearing eyelash extensions and no other makeup are much younger than me. So I'm not going to understand every freaking Gen Z trend that comes out there. I'm just not. So maybe it's that, but yeah. And when it comes to fake lashes on a bold look, I think that 9 times out of 10 fake lashes do improve a bold look, but I never wear them, okay? I wear them so rarely, but I love the way they look on other people. I hate putting them on. I hate the way that I have to adjust them, and I hate the way they feel on my eyes. I always feel them, and I always feel like my eyes are heavy and I'm doing this halfway through the day. So I'm just a fan of putting on some extra mascara and calling it a day. I know, Piper. I hate it too. You want to come say hi? I feel like there's always demands to see the Piper. Look how big this kitten is now. This kitten. The kittens are now 8 months. They're almost 8 months old. Oh, he wants down now. He wants down because he sees his brother. But they're doing great. I know you all ask about them. You all love me some Piper and Haggis. Haggis, do you want to say hi? Huh? Come here. And look at this big boy. Haggis is such a big boy now, but he's so handsome. He's the handsomest. They're both handsomest. But yeah, Haggis is like a beast. Look at that. He's a beast. But yes, he's my love too. This is one that I would categorize as an unpopular opinion. They said lip gloss looks juvenile on grown-ass adults. You know, the really super shiny glosses. I love lip gloss. And this is something I didn't love until I became a grown-ass adult. There were so many years where I just wore a matte lip, and I still love a matte lip. But I personally feel like as I get older, when I wear a super, super, super matte lip, it accentuates the lines in my lips. You know what I mean? Like it accentuates when my lips are dry or things like that. Whereas I feel like a gloss almost makes your lips look a little more plump, a little more juicy. How do you all feel about gloss? I'm really curious if that actually is an unpopular opinion or if that's what the majority of people believe. We're not talking about how gloss feels. We're talking about how it looks on grown-ass adults. Super curious. We had 2 people that said something very similar. So one person said foundation isn't necessary in most cases. The other one said foundation usually makes people look worse, not better. So I am very interested in that. Now, I will say I am not a fan of full coverage foundation on myself at all. But even when I see someone in person with full coverage foundation, again, I am not going to yuck someone's yum, but I don't love seeing in-person full coverage foundation. I feel like you can see it sitting on top of the skin. I'm sure there are makeup artists that can make it blend flawlessly, but I feel like you can always just see it on top of the skin. Now, if that full coverage foundation is what's making that person feel great that day, that is amazing. I would never say to somebody, you shouldn't be wearing that foundation. But just personally, I don't know what it is. I do like a light coverage. I go out most times that I go out, like if I'm going to the grocery store, if I'm going to the mall even, I don't wear any makeup. There are a lot of days where I wear no makeup. But if I want to feel a little more put together, I always wear foundation. It makes me feel just like my skin is more even. It makes it feel more glowy. It makes me feel more youthful. And I know I shouldn't be chasing youth, but I'm going to be honest. Oh, Piper. I'm going to be honest. I do like my skin to look a little more youthful and glowy and plump and things like that. So it's all about how you feel, but I am really curious to know your opinions on foundation. I know I keep saying that with all of these, like I want to know your opinions, but I do. I want that comment section to be full of your opinions, unpopular or not. Tell me them. There was also some opinions in here about eyebrows. One person said thin eyebrows look better on some people. Thin isn't always it. And someone else said you don't need to fill in your eyebrows. Granted, I have the eyebrows of a schnauzer. What does a schnauzer's eyebrows look like? I agree with both of these. I don't think you always need to fill in your eyebrows at all. It is something where I don't do it for the most part unless I am doing like a full look. If I'm doing a look, I definitely prefer my eyebrows to be filled in. I feel like it completes the look, but that's on me. Whereas I think that the average makeup wearing person, okay, the average person wearing makeup on a daily basis or on just a semi-regular basis does not need to fill in their eyebrows. And I also agree that big, bushy, thick eyebrows, which I personally love right now, are not for everyone. And I think thin eyebrows are starting to come back in. I've been seeing it on like runways and things like that. And I don't know how I feel about it because I've talked about it many times that in the 90s, I destroyed my eyebrows by plucking them and waxing them into oblivion. Like there was nothing left. It was like a little thin line. So I am just very curious to know what you all feel about that. I love makeup trends. I love how 1 minute eyebrows are bushy and that's in, and the next minute it's thin and in, and the next minute somebody's chiseling and that's in. I feel like eyebrows, almost more than anything else, go through these trends so quickly where it's only acceptable to do that one thing, and if you do anything else, you're out, you're canceled, you're fired. You guys, this video was so much fun to do. I love hearing your unpopular opinions. Again, please, fill that comment section. I want to know your unpopular opinions or what you thought of these specific unpopular opinions. Do you agree with them? Do you disagree? What are your favorite Sigma products? Your favorite Rare Beauty products? Because those just like, it's so interesting to me that those were singled out as like, these products suck. So I'm just genuinely curious. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, it would be great if you could give it a thumbs up. That always does help out my channel. Everything that is on my face will be listed in the description box below if you feel like doing a little shopping. You all can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Those are all GlitterFallout, and as always and forever, you are super freaking rock stars, and I love you so much with my whole heart, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!